Hi, this is Shahed. I'm a solution architect on Cisco Unified Computing System. Today, I'd like to share my experience with UCS customers on a specific topic, which is boot from SAN troubleshooting. Uh, Due to the nature of this boot from SAN, I think both server admin and storage admin needs to kind of work closely to make it a success. And also, if you want to explore the benefits of stateless computing on unified computing system, you probably use this feature very often. Now this is my lab setup. On the left side I have a UCS 5180 chassis with a half-width blade server, which is a B200. Is connecting to the FI, and we have got Cisco power adapter on the blade. Now you can see the entire setup is non-redundant. There is no kind of redundancy built into the system, so you won't see probably this thing in your production, but I've just make it absolutely simple to understand the troubleshooting process. So 6120 FI is connected to the MDS, Cisco MDS, and that's going through fiber channel 2/1 on the FI to the fiber channel 1/17 on the MDS. I'll refer to this port numbers during my troubleshooting session, so I probably would like to remember these numbers. Then from the MDS, I'm connecting to the Clarion CX480 with two storage processor A and B, and I'm connecting from the MDS to the storage processor A on the port A2. So this is the setup, and just to refer the configuration, I've got a vSAN 1000 configured for the fiber channel connectivity. Now when I would like to troubleshoot the SAN boot, first thing I do, I get two information from the UCS manager. First thing is the initiator, which is the WWPN number of the HPA you are trying to boot from, and the second thing is the target. Now you can get the initiator WWPN number from the UCS GUI. On the left side you can select the server tab, and then on the bottom you see your service profile, the one you're working on, and on your right you can select the storage tab and you'll find the VHPA. Now again, you can probably see one VHPA here, because I'd like to just avoid all kind of complexity for the troubleshooting purpose. You probably have two HPA in your configuration or in your service profile. So I would recommend to kind of write this number, WWPN number, somewhere in a notepad or something, so that it's very important to know each and every bit of this WWPN number. Now next is, as I said, your target WWPN number. You probably got this information from your storage admin. If say that may be EMC, NetApp, or Hitachi, or any storage system that's certified from for Cisco. And once you get that WWPN number, you have probably configured your boot order, boot policy. Now I would also probably recommend to just note this WWPN number of the target and just write it down somewhere in the same place. Once we do that, then our journey will be to kind of connect between the initiator to the target. And there are many things involved in the process, like your blade, your power adapter, your fabric extender at the back, your FI fabric interconnect, then your MDS, and then lastly your storage. Now this tab can be very useful, just initial checking that how the system, how the server is looking, like can the server see the target WWPN number or not. If you select the service profile onto the left side on the server tab, and then on your right you'll see the server details tab, and then at the bottom, if you scroll at the bottom, you'll see boot order details. Now here there's two tabs. One is configured boot order, other one is actual boot order. Configured boot order, probably you'll see the same thing as your boot order boot policy, and the actual boot order will see that what the server is looking at right now, like can it see the target WWPN or not, can see the target LAN or not. So if you can see, and if it is configured correctly, probably you'll see something like this, your WWPN number of the target and the LAN ID. Now, if you don't see, probably there's some kind of connectivity issue from the initiator to the target, and we probably need to start looking for what is the issue lying. But this is a very simple screenshot on the UCS GUI. It's available, and you can probably first check that what you can see there. Another thing I check once I boot your KVM, then you can see probably the same information from the last screen, but you can see on the KVM. Now, here to see this screen, you have to do one change in the BIOS policy, which is a disable quiet boot. So by default, the quiet boot is enabled, and so this skips all this diagnostic information. There is a BIOS policy on the UCS manager. You can probably configure that to disable that, so that once you need to troubleshoot, you can see all the diagnostic information on the KVM. Alright, now here you can see the same WWPN number of the target and the LAN ID, and option ROM installed successfully. So that means your path is good from the initiator to the target. If you don't see that, or if say this option ROM not installed successfully or something like that, so yeah, there is a connectivity issue. So there's no point trying to load the media or trying to install the operating system. Okay, those who are kind of more CLI guys, they probably can do the same thing. Can check the same WWN and PN number from the UCS CLI. So you can SSH into the VIP, and then you can scope into the server, and also org service profile, and then you can run the command like show VHPA, show boot policy expand detail, and you can see also the same information. Now, this is a very friendly GUI. You can just probably tab or just question mark, and you'll find what commands you have there available, and you should be able to figure out those things pretty easily. Once we check the service profile configuration, probably next we jump into the next stage, which is 6120XP, our FI. This is a very kind of my favorite commands that I run to troubleshoot probably any connectivity issue, which is a show service profile, service dash profile, circuit, CIRCUIT, server, SERVER, means if you tap that, it will show you what is the command, and then this chassis number and the slot number. In this case, is chassis number 1, slot number 2. So if you type that command, I'll just say that again, like show service profile circuit server to 1/2. That's chassis 1 slot 2. Once you've done that, then you should be able to see all the connectivity information of that specific server we're looking at. Here I'll probably just emphasize on the VHPA connectivity, not the VNIC. So here we have a VHPA1, which is our initiator, and that's number is 5155. That's the VHC number, virtual fiber channel number, and it shows link state is up, overall is active, and all look good here. So if there's an error message, so again the same thing, we have some connectivity issue. And here another thing is important, like you can see the fabric ID A and fabric ID B. So you have configured your VHPA through fabric ID A. So whatever the troubleshooting we do, that we should do on the fabric ID A, not B. So that can be confusing sometimes. Normally people does boot the SAN from probably A, and the data history goes to the B, something like that. But you have to probably just make sure that you are looking at the right fabric interconnect. That's what we're going to do in the next stage. That is, we go into the NXOS from the root of the UCS manager CLI. You go connect NXOS, and then in this case it has to be connect NXOS A. If your primary FI is B, then by default it will go to the B. So make sure you come to the right FI, like connect NXOS A, to find the right information on this in this case. And we run the command show interface VFC 5155. So that's the number we got from the previous command. And here we get a number of good information. One of them is FCID. So once your VHPA Flogi into the upstream SAN switch, it gives a FCID. So if I am getting it, I would probably assume at this stage that Flogi was good and it got an FCID from the upstream switch. And you get many other information like which server, the VHPA name, those kind of information here. And again, another thing is each VFC is bound to one of the Ethernet, and that's Ethernet is here 13347. So this is the VN tag that provide to the each interface. So if we run this command show interface Ethernet 13347, you should see probably a bit more information on that interface itself. Most importantly, if the interface is up, the FCID number, and am I looking at the right server or not. So once you have these informations good, then we can proceed to the next stage, which is NPV Flogi table. So before I jump into this one, probably I would explain the why NPV. Like I'm sure the storage guys is very aware of this term NPV and NPIV on the upstream switch. NPV works as a kind of proxy so that you have got multiple VHPs connected to the same port on the MDS. Now MDS must run on NPIV mode. If that doesn't run NPIV, then there's no connectivity, there's nothing, there should not be anything on this Flogi table. And the interface should not come up anytime. So make sure your upstream SAN switch is configured as NPIV. You can check with your storage admin if that's done correctly. And also you have to have the same vSAN on the VHPA you configure. In this case, your VHPA is VFC 5155. Your vSAN is 1000. Your FCID is what's on the screen. And your port WLPN number is written on the NPIV Flogi output. NPV Flogi output. And also another thing probably I should mention is not relevant to this one, like external interface is fiber channel 2/1. The way it works on UCS is if you have got say one interface, so all Flogi will go through that one, but there is no other option, right? If you have got two interface, then it will be equally kind of distributed between them. First one goes, if both are up at the same time, then the first one goes to 1, second one goes to 2, third one goes to 1 again. So this way it kind of round robin. And if it is 3, the same thing happens. From version 1.4, there is a fiber channel port channeling option, so that can be useful if you have got upstream MDS or Nexus 5K as a SAN switch. So you can explore that port channeling feature, which is probably more ideal for load balancing and kind of redundancy. Now here you have checked this NPV Flogi table. You can see all those information that's good. We can go to the next one, which is show NPV internal info. This is a very useful command, like not for SAN boot troubleshooting, any SAN troubleshooting. You can run this command and you will see kind of number of useful information. One of them is like if you are logging in remotely from a kind of distance, a data center or something, and you not really are sure that how this connectivity is done physically. Maybe there are multiple MDS, which MDS is connected to, means maybe some, I have seen from my experience that happens sometimes, like we're not sure that which MDS they're connected, they're configured one MDS, whereas physically you're connected to the other MDS switch. So at the bottom, the arrow mark, it shows the management IP address of your upstream SAN switch. So you can probably correlate and check that you are looking at the right one. And if you scroll down, I have not taken that output, but you will see a lot of information, like say for your vSAN mismatch, NPIV not enabled. Those kind of information will show up straight onto this command, and you can use for any SAN troubleshooting as far as UCS is concerned. Once we see everything is good on the FI, probably next stage is jumping onto the MDS. As a server admin, you might not have access to the MDS. Probably you need your storage admin to log in and kind of interpret things, but you should be able to assist him what we are looking at right now to boot from SAN. Now, the similar command as Flogi on the MDS. So you show Flogi database, and if your MDS is shared by many other servers, there may be hundreds of entries for Flogi. So that will not be very helpful to go through each and every one. So you can probably include pipe and include this WWPN number of the initiator and check that if you see that Flogi entry in the Flogi database. So in this case, as shown in the first diagram, like it's connected on the fiber channel 1/17 port, vSAN 1000, it's got the FCID, and all those information, WWP and WWN number. Now this is probably expected because you have already checked all those stuff. The next one, which we probably knew from the previous your slides, is you're checking the target WWPN number, which you have configured in your boot policy as the target WWPN number is logged into the Flogi or not. So if you run this command with the show Flogi database include and then the WWPN number of the target, which you noted down, then you should be able to see something like that. Probably not fiber channel 1/1, it can be any port. On the diagram it was 1/1 and then vSAN 1000 and the same information as the previous one as your target initiator WWPN number. Once you see both of them, okay, you're now comfortable that okay, they both are kind of connected. They both are flogging into these your MDS switch you're looking at. Sorry. Now there's another command show FCNS database vSAN 1000. Then you can check the similar information that your FCID, WWPN number of the initiator and the target. Next one, I think I would say is the most important CLI command on the MDS as far as sandwich is concerned. That's why I've given triple star. So the command should be like the show zone active, and then you pipe that into include and the initiator WWPN number, then previous 3 next 3. I'm trying to just minimize the screen output. That's why I just pipe those things. So once you do that, what you really see is if the zoning is done correctly and if both the initiator and target are logged into the MDS at the moment you're looking at, like is it currently logged in. Sometimes you might see okay, your maybe initiator is star on the beginning, that means it's actively logged in, but maybe there's no star at the beginning for the target. In that case, maybe you'll understand okay, your target is offline. This MDS you're looking at, that's not connected, or that's target is offline for some reason. Probably your storage admin has to find out the reason. If you see both star, you're good, like you're comfortable with MDS, and you can go to the next stage, which is our storage system is in my case is Clarion, but it can be anything as far as it's certified from Cisco. So your screenshots and the way we check it that probably will be differ from vendor to vendor, but the bottom line is what we are trying to check. We're trying to check here that the storage system can see the initiator live. It's logged in, and you have configured the correct storage group combining the target and the initiator, and you have given in the LAN ID of 0, and that is the ownership of the active storage. But in this case it's active and passive, so if it is active probably doesn't matter, but there are many cases from Clarion that they're active passive and the owner of the LAN is not the active storage processor, so that can be an issue. So just let's go through these screens I have here. So if you check this connectivity status, I can see that initiator WWPN number is there logged in onto the storage system, so that's good. Now second thing is I'm checking here the storage group has got the correct LAN, and this LAN 1375 that is host ID 0. So once I've checked this one and it's confirmed this one, next stage is checking this LAN, the one I'm looking at 1375 belongs to which storage processor. In this case it is SPA, and SPA is the active in this case, so it is good. If it is not there, you can probably just fail over the SP to A to B. So pretty much what we have checked here, you should be able to check similar thing from other vendors, but probably different command output and different screenshots. That's probably done as far as like up to storage system is concerned, but we have something different way of checking on the power adapter. Like Cisco power adapter is different from any other adapters like your Menlo or the uplink, which is the Intel one. So this, you can go into the details of the adapter and you can check a few things. If your operating system is not loaded still, because you can't see the LAN or something, or you don't have the vMedia, or you didn't have the chance to load your operating system, so still you can check to see that if the connectivity is good from the initiator to the target. So the way you do that, we log into the UCS manager, and then we connect to the adapter. 1/2/1 means number 1 chassis, number 2 blade, and number 1 adapter. It's B200, so it has got only one adapter. It can't be two. So if it is B250 or 440, you can have two mesh cards. That means you can connect adapter 1/2/1 or 2. But again, like once you are configuring your boot policy, that mesh card needs to be configured to boot from SAN. So whatever the configuration on the boot policy on the HPA, which mesh card it is, so we'll probably put the number here. And then connect, attach FLS, VNIC, those kind of command. But one thing is, you don't have to remember, it's not a standard NXOS command, but you can just type in help in any stage, and you'd see kind of what kind of command you can run. We're trying to troubleshoot fiber channel information, so we just attach to FLS, and then we type VNIC. VNIC is how many VNICs configured on that server, and then fiber channel wise. Now we have one. Ideally, like if you have probably 2 HPAs, you'll see 2 of them here. Now VNIC number 11, which is probably most important for us, which VNIC number we should check. And also the state is active, type is fiber channel, and leaf is VNTAG number is 8. Now you have rebooted your KVM, your server. It started going to the black screen of that BIOS. At that time, if you run this command, then you should be able to see that, like login 11, which is the VNIC number. You should see the FCID number on the right side, which is the same one we checked many times before. Then the second command is LAN map 11, which is the VNIC number, and you can see the ploggy is Y. If you see these two things, you are good, means your connectivity is good as far as your kind of initiated to target is concerned. Now, what happens once the operating system comes up? You see that yellow screen of the ESXi, or if you are running any other operating system. At certain stage, the operating system driver loads, and it takes this job of your ploggy and ploggy. So if you have successfully installed the operating system and you can see the operating system, then if you run the command again, login 11, you'll see that FCID is gone. And if you run LAN map 11, you'll see that ploggy is gone. So if you see this, everything is good, like everything is as expected. But if you see that you're trying to boot the operating system, but still you can see the FCID, and if still you can see the ploggy, then I think there's some problem with your operating system driver or the installation process. Maybe it's not installed correctly, or maybe there's some corrupt data there where you cannot boot the operating system. So this is a quick way of finding if the connectivity is okay or not. Now at the end, I've just kind of summarized few of the troubleshooting tips that can be useful, which probably most of them I've covered before. If it's a LAN discovery issues, make sure your FC zoning is correct, which you have to do that anyway. Make sure that your boot target WLAN number and LAN ID is correctly configured, which you have covered. Make sure FCOE VIC VHP driver has been certified to work with the storage. And you can get all the drivers and everything from the Cisco website, if you've got a CCO, it's Cisco login. Now, and the situation always installer doesn't see the LAN, like once you try to load the operating system, and at a certain stage it asks for the driver, and you give the driver and it can't see the LAN. what happens? Sometimes during operating install, the storage dialog box does not see any LAN. Okay, you can do the following. Verify the correct version of the driver is being installed. As again, the same thing, you can probably get the driver from the Cisco website and check is the correct version and correct operating system. Cisco supplied golden image probably can be very useful. That's also on the you can get it from the vendor's website. And make sure the LAN provisioning is correct, which is probably the basics. And HPA has logged onto the fabric. Make sure the zoning is correct. Same thing, probably repeating again. Now, for Windows, sometimes we have kind of different situations where you cannot format the LAN. You can see the disk, but you can't format it. So it can be there are many reasons for that. Like maybe the LAN was previously configured. You tried to install, someone else tried to use that LAN, and it is as dynamic disk or is an invalid partition there. Maybe you can just kind of remove the LAN and get a new LAN, or kind of format the LAN from the storage side. VHP driver was installed by unmapping. Okay, once you map and unmap the operating system and the driver, like on the vMedia screen, if you remember, like you need to map and unmap between the driver and the operating system. So if like once you're loading the driver, once that's finished, you need to load back again the operating system. You need to tick that box. So you just have to make sure that that's correct. If you can slipstream the driver into the operating system, that's probably best. You don't have to go through that trouble. Similar thing, like means you can see the same error message as said on the screen, that you need to eject the, not eject, like unmap the ISO driver and remap the Windows operating system DVD. Again, the LAN ownership of the active storage processor, that's probably very important if you're using Clarion or any kind of active passive storage processor. Now, and the two things probably I have not mentioned here, like some customers try to, most of the customers try to use multiple paths to install Windows operating system. Say you have got one VHPA 1 which is having 2 paths, VHPA 2 having another 2 paths. You have got 4 paths. So now once you do that and you try to install the Windows, it fails. So the workaround is, like, the way you can address this is you can reboot that server and it should work for the second time. The alternate is, what you can do, you can make a boot policy with just single path, install the operating system, it'll go nice. Once it is done, just replace that boot policy with the actual one which has 4 paths. Just make sure that the first top one is the one which you have put, which made the initial installation. So if you have gone through, or if you have faced this situation, you probably understand that clear. So those are the two alternatives once you're trying to use multipath boot from SAN policy. That's all from my side today. Like I hope it is useful for you. If you have any feedback, feel free to send me an email in this address, and I'll try to find out more information and get back onto the next session. Thank you all. Oh my god, have I spoiled that? Don't tell me. 28 minutes.